At the wedding, my fiancé deliberately called out the name of the green tea bitch to please her and shouted at me, "Serena, I love you." I angrily threw the bouquet in my hand at his face. Then I called out to his cousin, "Hunter, I love you. Do you love me?" Hunter was amused and said, "Yes. Winnie, shall we get engaged?" After my fiancé was severely beaten by his father, he was driven out. The wedding banquet was changed into an engagement banquet with the guests remaining the same. How wonderful! Even more wonderful was that after getting married, I found out that Hunter was an expert at dealing with both scumbags and green tea bitches. Today was my wedding day with Lionel. The master of ceremonies on the stage said with great emotion, "At this moment, groom, what do you most want to say to the bride?" "I love you, Serena." When Lionel said these words, I was stunned. That's not right. My name is Winnie. Serena was my half-sister whom my father had just recognized for less than 2 days. There was dead silence in the audience. My parents and his parents had already turned extremely gloomy. Among the relatives and friends, some looked at the stage in disbelief, some couldn't help whispering, and some covered their mouths to hold back their laughter. "Groom, look, no one is applauding. Is it because your emotions aren't intense enough?" The master of ceremonies egged him on. Lionel shouted loudly into the microphone, "Serena, I love you." His voice was so loud that it seemed the whole hall couldn't contain it. The best man standing behind him, his cousin Hunter, covered his mouth and bent over with laughter. I angrily threw the bouquet hard at Lionel's head. Only then did he correct himself and say, "I made a mistake. It should be Winnie." "I love you, Winnie." I sneered, "Can't you tell Serena and Winnie apart?" "Lionel, I don't believe you. Were the roses on Valentine's Day and the sense of ritual on every holiday because you couldn't tell Serena and Winnie apart? When I had a stomachache during my period, you personally boiled ginger soup for me. Was that because you couldn't tell Serena and Winnie apart? When my shoelace came undone and you bent down to tie it for me, was that because you couldn't tell Serena and Winnie apart? Bah! If it weren't for the need to push him into a moral low point and create a miserable and innocent image for myself, if I continued talking, I would even believe that he had been really nice to me. Lionel, if you start something, I'd be a fool not to retaliate. I then turned to his cousin Hunter and shouted, "Hunter, I love you. Do you love me?" Hunter was stunned for a moment, then he was amused and said, "Yes. Winnie, I love you too. How about we get engaged first?" "Okay." When the guests were confused by our four-cornered relationship, my mother handed me my phone with a very gloomy face and said, "No wonder she didn't come to the wedding today. Look at what she's done." I immediately saw the reminders on my phone. The curvature setting has been successfully changed. The setting of the body comfort level has been successfully changed. This was the mattress reminding me that someone was changing the relevant data. My new bed in the bridal chamber had been slept in. I opened the remote monitoring and saw Serena lazily leaning against my bed in a bright red silk pajama, drinking red wine. She looked like she was drunk without actually being drunk. That pajama was mine. I had prepared to wear it on our wedding night. Then I saw the unread messages on WeChat. "Sister, Lionel doesn't love you. He's marrying you because of the pressure from both parents. Sister, you must be very sad to hear your husband call someone else's name at your wedding. Let me tell you, he did it on purpose. To please me. Sister, when he told me his plan to deliberately call my name yesterday, I stopped him. I said I wasn't interested in him, but he just wouldn't listen. He even specially recorded a video of shouting my name and sent it to me. I'm so troubled." She sounded so affectedly sweet with every "sister." She pushed all the blame onto Lionel. I didn't want to do this either, but he brought it upon himself. Haha, she probably didn't know that my phone could be connected to the big screen. Hunter slightly frowned his well-groomed eyebrows and walked up to me. "Where did this green tea bitch come from?" Before I could answer, my best friend Shirley reacted and slammed her cup onto the table. The cup shattered. I've seen shameless people before, but I've never seen anyone so shameless. "Uncle Wen, did you invite us here today just to open our eyes?" Several of my other sisters also chimed in. Uncle when did the Wen family have another daughter? Uncle Wen, my sister Winnie was bullied like this at her wedding. The Wang family won't stand for it. The Gu family won't stand for it. The Mu family won't stand for it either. They were all famous socialites in Jean City. They had seen many scenes with green tea bitches like this and quickly realized what was going on. Hunter pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and sneered, "The Hunter family won't stand for anyone bullying my fiancé either." He had fair skin, deep and unfathomable eyes like the dark night sky, red lips, white teeth, and a high nose bridge. Well, he really had a good appearance and gave people a sense of restraint. Their families were either on a par with mine or even better. My father's face darkened when he saw this. No matter how much he wanted to cover up for Serena, he couldn't do it anymore. What a pity that there was no live broadcast of the wedding scene. Serena couldn't see how embarrassing she was or how pitiful Lionel looked. Lionel's father ranked second in the Hunter family. He had originally planned to compete with Hunter's father through an alliance with my family. Unexpectedly, Lionel made such a scene, which made the two elders so angry that they immediately chased after him onto the stage and gave him a fierce beating. "Dad! Mom! I love Serena!" Lionel shouted his true feelings while running around with his head in his hands. He looked just like a clown. "Second uncle, I'm afraid the stock price will drop tomorrow," Hunter said casually beside them. What a good way to add fuel to the fire. Lionel's father hit even harder. Thank goodness the wedding didn't succeed. My mother's face was pale. Unable to bear it any longer, she said to the security guards, "Throw them all out." This wedding was arranged and planned by my mother alone, and she paid for it all by herself. So, Lionel and his parents were all invited out. And Hunter's father immediately sat in the main seat, grinning from ear to ear and giving me a thumbs up, "Well done." With the relatives and friends of the Hunter family and the Wen family present, my father was forced to declare in front of everyone, "Don't misunderstand. The Wen family only has one daughter, Winnie. I don't know where this vixen came from, pretending to be Winnie's sister." He didn't have a good heart. Just now, he had taken a bunch of quick-acting heart-saving pills to stabilize his blood pressure. At this time, his voice was weak and he was slightly out of breath when he spoke. My mother snorted coldly, "Humph," just like her mother. Hunter seemed to be in a good mood. He looked at me with a smile. "Tisk, this trip wasn't in vain. I got a great wife for free." Just like that, Hunter and I became fiancé and fiancée in a daze. I'm really glad that when we negotiated with Lionel before, we agreed to hold the banquet first and then get the marriage certificate. After the engagement, Hunter and I went to deal with the $1 million mattress. Serena was sitting on the sofa with red eyes. And my father was sitting on the other side of the sofa, sighing. It seemed that she had been reprimanded. Hunter said in confusion, "Huh?" My father glanced at Serena and didn't dare to admit that she was his daughter. After all, at the banquet just now, all four major families stood behind me. Thanks to my little sisters. "Oh, she's the daughter of the nanny." My father took the initiative to distance himself from Serena. Serena couldn't help it and said, "Dad." "What dad? Who's your dad?" My father glared at her angrily. Serena shuddered in fright. I asked, "Serena, isn't it exciting? You're causing trouble until your own biological father refuses to recognize you." My mother came downstairs from the second floor and snorted coldly, "What? Aren't you the daughter of the nanny? What you did today has completely humiliated the Wen family in City C. Do you know how much the Wen family will lose tomorrow?" My mother reprimanded her sternly. "I'm sorry, I'm wrong, Auntie," Serena said pitifully with her head down. "I've never slept in such a comfortable bed or worn such delicate pajamas. I was just momentarily bewitched and wanted to experience them. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have envied everything my sister has. I shouldn't have been psychologically unbalanced and shouldn't have had the thought of, why does my sister have it while I don't?" On the surface, she seemed to be explaining to my mother, but in fact, her eyes were fixed on Hunter. She walked up to Hunter, grabbed his sleeve and shook it. "Brother Hunter, don't you know what kind of person I am? Brother Hunter, do you still remember when we played stone skipping, flew kites and watched the sunset together when we were studying abroad? It wasn't me who forced Lionel to call the wrong person. I don't like him at all. You should know who I really like in your heart. So they were old acquaintances? Then why did Hunter ask me, where did this green tea bitch come from just now? Hunter suddenly shook off his sleeve. Who are you? Are we that familiar? Playing stone skipping, flying kites and watching the sunset when studying abroad? Are you talking about that group activity for all the overseas students in the whole college? He took off his coat and handed it to the servant. It's dirty. Burn it. Winnie, your mattress is also dirty. Burn it together. I'll customize a $10 million one for you. I was amused and said, the kind with gold threads inlaid? Even with diamonds inlaid would be no problem. He rubbed my hair. I suspected that he was deliberately provoking Serena. Because at this time, Serena's eyes looking at me were filled with resentment. My mother was very kind to her and her mother. Whatever I had, she had too. We wore the same clothes, ate the same snacks and played with the same dolls. We even went to the same school and were in the same class. I regarded her as my best friend and never hid anything from her. But she didn't even let me see my grandma for the last time. That day during the evening self-study, her seat was empty. When I was doing my homework, I always felt restless and somehow wanted to cry. The math teacher saw that I couldn't solve a problem for a long time and angrily asked me to go to the school bag cabinet to do my homework. When the head teacher passed by and saw me, he was surprised and asked, Winnie, why didn't you go home? Go home? Your dad called me during dinner and asked me to tell you to hurry to the main gate. He's waiting for you there. I was just about to rush to the head teacher's meeting, so I asked Serena to pass the message on to you. I've already approved your leave note. Didn't she give it to you? At that time, Serena was still hidden by my dad and hadn't taken our family name, yet. Something must have happened. When I rushed home in a hurry, they weren't at home. Even her mother, Lotus, who was our family's nanny, wasn't there either. There was a note left on the table. Sister, Grandma fell seriously ill. We couldn't wait for you. After seeing this message, come to the central hospital quickly. I didn't have time to care about how many tricks she had played behind my back or how many secrets there were in this note. All I could think about was Grandma. I couldn't clearly remember how I managed to stop a taxi when I went out or how I urged the driver to drive faster. I just felt really dazed. The street lamps on that road were so bright that they hurt my head, and the buzzing sound lingered in my ears. My uncle's eyes were red at the entrance of the operating room. When he saw me coming, he grabbed my arm at once. Winnie, why are you so late? Before Grandma went in, my uncle, a big man who was 1.8 meters tall, was sobbing. She kept calling for little Winnie. I stared blankly as the light at the entrance of the operating room went out. I watched my uncle squat on the ground, covering his head with his hands, and saw his shaking shoulders. Suddenly, I really wanted to run away. A voice was shouting in my mind, turn around. As long as you turn around, everything will be fake. However, Dad came out. He angrily pushed aside the people blocking him, grabbed my collar, and slapped me hard across the face. The taste of blood spread at the corner of my mouth. Winnie, you ungrateful wretch. Grandma was seriously ill. Even Serena knew to ask for leave to see her off for the last time, but you said you were afraid of delaying your studies? Which is more important, your family or your studies? I'll beat you to death, you heartless thing. Slap after slap, kick after kick. Mom and Uncle's attempts to stop him couldn't hold him back from kicking me with all his might. He seemed to want to kick me to death. Yeah, he had never liked me. He had always treated Serena better. I used to often think that I was his biological daughter. Why was he always so lukewarm towards me? Later, I understood. Hee. What was that little bit of pain from his punches and kicks compared to seeing a small, thin body covered with a white cloth being pushed past me? My grandma, who used to tell me stories while fanning herself and looking at the moon when I was little. My grandma who walked me a long way with a cane and watched me go to school. My grandma who always secretly hid delicious food for me whenever there was any. but now she was lying under that white cloth. And I didn't even get to see her for the last time. And I made her worry about me and couldn't let go until the end of her life. Hatefully, Serena was still beside when Jianhua saying, "Uncle, Sister Winnie isn't really at fault. She just loves studying too much. Sister Winnie, you shouldn't value your studies more than Grandma." When Jianhua was about to punch me again, she pretended to pull him. "Uncle, it's all my fault. I didn't persuade Sister Winnie before we came back. I'm also to blame." I looked up and glared at her coldly, then chased after the trolley. Those days were really a daze. When they sent Grandma into the incinerator, I ran away. I couldn't bear to watch my grandma who loved me the most turn into a handful of ashes with my own eyes. After the burial, everyone knelt in front of the tombstone and cried bitterly. Only I stared blankly at Grandma's name on the tombstone, feeling dazed. Was it that I would never see her again? When I got home, I sat numbly at the dining table. Lotus brought over a bowl of lotus seed porridge and said, "Winnie, you haven't eaten much these days. Have some to fill your stomach first." I took it and numbly put it in my mouth. At this moment, Dad and Serena just walked in. Serena walked up to me, looking as if she was extremely pained. "Sister Winnie, don't you have a heart? Grandma passed away, and you didn't even go to see her for the last time. When she was sent into the incinerator, you disappeared. Just now at the cemetery, everyone was crying so sadly, but you didn't seem sad at all. And now, you can even eat? Sister Winnie, Grandma was so good to you. She was calling your name before she passed away. I've always dreamed of having a grandma like that, but you don't know how to cherish her. She was really good at it." With just a few words, she made Jianhua angry again. He snatched the bowl from my hand and smashed it hard on the ground. "All you know is eating. Has your conscience been eaten by dogs?" The fragments flew everywhere and cut a bloodstain on my face. I suddenly rushed towards Serena. I grabbed her hair with my left hand and slapped her hard on the face with my right hand. First, for not passing on the teacher's message. Second, for sowing discord. Third, for being a two-faced bitch. Obviously, Jianhua didn't expect that I would suddenly hit someone and was stunned for a moment. By the time he reacted, Serena had already received 3 solid slaps from me. While I was being dragged away by Jianhua and Lotus and beaten and kicked, I saw Serena's swollen face and the blood at the corner of her mouth. I saw her looking at me with hatred. I thought to myself, just wait. One day, I'll make you pay back double. I escaped like a stray dog. After my mom's funeral, she rushed to the company. I was going to find her and ask for an explanation. While waiting for the traffic lights, an old grandma with white hair was holding her 7 or 8-year-old granddaughter by the hand. The old grandma saw that her granddaughter's hair was messy, so she took off the bow hairpin and pinned it on her again. "So pretty. My little girl is Grandma's little princess. So pretty. My Winnie is Grandma's little princess." Grandma's words still echoed in my ears. Suddenly, I burst into tears. The green light came on, and the old grandma led the little girl away. As for me, I squatted beside the road and cried loudly. A blue-gray plaid handkerchief was handed to me. "It's okay. Everything will pass." I looked up. The sunlight shone on the boy's back and shoulders, casting a golden halo around him. His face was hidden in the light and shadow, and I couldn't see it clearly. "Master Jiang, your girlfriend? Did you bully her?" A car stopped in front of us, and a young man said jokingly. The boy stuffed the handkerchief into my hand and smiled gently. "Crying won't solve any problems." He turned around and got into that car. I stood up, wiped away my tears, and tightly grasped the handkerchief. I held on to the kindness of a stranger. Since my mom had been instilled with the ideas of being well-educated, refined, and gentle since she was a child, she was so gentle that she seemed a bit weak. But when she saw the injuries on my face, she still clenched her fists. "Did Jianhua hit you again?" I nodded and told her the whole story. She cried and hugged me. "Mom is so useless." "I'm sorry, Winnie. Mom failed to protect you." For the first time, Mom stood up to Jianhua and insisted that Serena and her mother be driven out of the house or else she would divorce him. Jianhua compromised. He didn't dare to divorce my mom. Not long after that, Serena transferred to another school. Before she left, she stood in front of me with her school bag on her back. Her eyes were like poisoned ice blades, as if she wanted to pierce through me. Winnie, I hate you. Why can you have what I can't? Those things should have belonged to me. Why can you live a decent life in the sunshine, while I can only live a wretched life like a rat in the gutter? Winnie, just wait. I'll come back and take away everything that belongs to you. Now, she's back. A few days before my wedding, she asked Wenjianhua to transfer a milk powder company to her name. She cried pitifully, describing the tragic scene of her mother's death in a car accident. Wenjianhua's heart rate immediately increased, and he was breathing rapidly. He had to take 2 quick-acting heart-saving pills before he calmed down. She also called Wenjianhua Dad in front of my mom. Dad, how long are you going to hide me? I'm your daughter, the daughter of you and my mom. Only then did my mom realize how ridiculous, pitiful, and sad she was. After my grandfather passed away, in order to stabilize the family business, she didn't have time to take care of me and had to send me to grandma's side. But when Jianhua's illegitimate daughter had been by her side for 5 years, his mistress had been by her side in the guise of a nanny for 5 years, and she hadn't noticed it at all. I watched helplessly as Mom's face turned ashen. Her lips trembled, and a bitter and sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Finally, she slumped down on the sofa. Seeing that her face was so ugly, when Jianhua quickly came over to comfort her, "Honey, I'll listen to you. I won't make any decisions on my own if you don't agree." I sneered in my heart. Mom didn't agree to you raising your illegitimate daughter either, did she? How ridiculous. Give it to her, Mom said softly. But it has to be independent from the Wen family. From now on, there will be no Sanha milk powder production line in the Wen group. Serena was satisfied and settled down in our house, waiting for the day of my wedding to arrive. When I asked Mom why later, she just said, "The higher you lift someone up, the harder they'll fall." Mom seemed to have changed. She was different from 10 years ago. Now, Serena was watching helplessly as Hunter directed people to carry the mattress out. In our back garden, the workers sawed it to pieces with an electric saw. I turned around and saw her staring straight at Hunter's back. A trace of discomfort flashed through my heart. "Sister," she said with a look of determination, "I told you. I'll take back everything that originally belonged to me." Hee, how ridiculous. When Jianhua broke up with Lotus in order to marry my mom, who came from a wealthy family. After marrying my mom, he cheated on her with Lotus again. Belonging to her? I turned around, grabbed her collar, and slapped her 3 times in a row. First, for being shameless and stealing someone else's husband. Second, for being immoral and sleeping on someone else's mattress. Third, for being a two-faced bitch with your fake words. Hunter turned around in surprise. When he saw me grabbing Serena's hair and pressing her head in front of me, he gave me a thumbs up. I sneered, "Serena, do you mean the days that belong to you, like a rat in a filthy sewer? Or do you mean taking back your identity as the illegitimate child of a scumbag who abandoned his ex-girlfriend to marry into a wealthy family and then cheated on his ex-girlfriend again, and a slut who didn't hesitate to interfere in someone else's marriage for more than 20 years? She screamed and flailed about, scratching and clawing randomly. She scratched a bloody mark on the back of my hand. "Winnie." When Jianhua walked out, I gave him a strange smile. "What? Dad, do you feel sorry for her? You feel sorry for her like this? Then you'll probably faint from heartache in the future." I let go of my hand. Serena was finally able to straighten up. She tidied her hair. The hatred in her eyes seemed as if she wanted to swallow me up on the spot. Unfortunately, she was a weak, two-faced bitch and her persona couldn't collapse. She forcibly held back her anger, bit her lower lip just right, and looked as if she was about to cry. "Dad, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have slept on Sister's mattress, but I really didn't deliberately provoke Lionel. He was the one who insisted on showing his love. Dad, am I not your child too? Isn't Sister being too bullying? My mom is in heaven." When Jianhua was just about to scold me when Hunter walked over, frowning, "Winnie, you're really out of line." I was like, "How could you hit someone?" I thought to myself, are the two brothers in the Hunter family the same? Here comes the twist. "Look, your hand was scratched and bleeding. Remember to call me if you want to hit someone in the future." "I'll do it. I don't mind standing up for you." After saying that, he gave Serena a cold and fierce look. "If you dare to mess with my fiancé again, I won't mind making an exception and hitting a woman." Hunter took my hand. "Let's go and put some medicine on it." When Janwa said behind us, "Winnie, enough is enough. It's better to drag the mattress to another place to burn it. There's too much smoke and dust, and it'll pollute the environment." Serena really knew when Janwa's weak spot well. She knew that as long as she mentioned her dead mother, when Janwa would feel guilty and agree to everything she said. I just wouldn't. I turned around. "Dad, we can do it slowly. Burn just a little bit each day." So, Mom specially hired someone to come to our house to burn the mattress and even bought a set of incinerators that could reduce pollution. It took a whole week to burn it. Serena looked gloomy every day during this period. In the end, she was so angry that she asked when Janwa for a villa and moved out to live by herself. 1 week later, when I got home from work and turned on the light, I was startled by the decoration in the house. Rose petals were all over the floor. Colorful balloons were floating on the ceiling. Hunter walked up to me stepping on the rose petals and got down on one knee. "Winnie, will you marry me? Let's go get the marriage certificate tomorrow." During this week, he would pick me up after work every day and take me to eat delicious food. Now I understood why he was acting so unusually today. Isn't just 1 week too short? I remembered the embarrassment Lionel had caused me at the wedding and still felt a bit scared. A marriage that was formed for the benefit of the two families couldn't even withstand the short 5 days after Serena showed up. "Well, how about you examine me closely for a month?" Hunter stuffed the ring box into my hand. This action somehow seemed strangely familiar. While I was hesitating, my mother stuffed the ring box into my pocket. "Winnie, Mom thinks Hunter is much more reliable than Lionel." Come on, Mom. Your judgment. I really can't compliment it." That night, my mother packed up my things on the pretext that it was closer to my workplace and forcibly drove me out of the house. "Go live in the company dormitory." Hunter carried my suitcase to the door of the dormitory for me and said with a smile, "Please take care of me in the future. We're neighbors now." "You?" This was the dormitory of my family's company. How could he live in? It must be that my mother gave him special treatment again. The next day, he even showed up in the company. My mother smiled and said, "Let me introduce to you all. This is Mr. Jiang, the deputy general manager of our company. From now on, all decisions regarding finance and personnel will be fully entrusted to Mr. Jiang." I suspected that my mother had lost her mind. Hunter, the eldest son of the Hunter family, instead of staying in his own company, came to manage the finances in my family's company? As soon as the meeting ended, I immediately found my mother and raised my doubts in my heart. My mother smiled and said, "Mom invited him to put on a show for a few days." Looking at her meaningful smile full of scheming, I finally understood. She was no longer the love-struck mother she was 10 years ago. 1 month passed quickly. Hunter and I often went on dates. He held nothing back from me and even handed me his mobile phone to keep. When I was on my period, he would boil brown sugar water for me. When my shoelaces came loose, he would squat down and tie them tightly for me. On every festival, he would always give me all kinds of small gifts in different ways. All the things that I had angrily criticized Lionel for forgetting to do at the wedding, Hunter had done them all within a month. Those were just things I had imagined. My mother was very satisfied with this prospective son-in-law, and I was also quite satisfied. So, when the 1-month inspection period ended, we secretly went to get the marriage certificate. I didn't have to live in the dormitory anymore and naturally moved into Hunter's residence. The only fly in the ointment was that Hunter didn't seem to be much of a man. We had been in a relationship for over a month. Although he was nice to me, he had always been polite and we hadn't even held hands. Now that we had been married for a week, he would work until late at night every night and had never had any other thoughts. I suspect he's gay. Oh no, I really jumped out of the frying pan into the fire. I sent a message to my best friend. Today, our company held an annual meeting. After discussing with Hunter, my mother invited a lot of media, wanting to use this opportunity to do some publicity. As Hunter's newly transferred little secretary in the past 2 days, I couldn't be of much help at all. So, at the annual meeting, I was still discussing with my best friend how to find out the truth about him. Good heavens! Other husbands and wives were all affectionate. Who was like me, having to secretly verify whether my man liked men or women?
Solo porque sin mí, él no hubiera podido comprar una casa en esta zona en absoluto. Saqué mi teléfono y tomé una foto de los dos.
That was a good idea. I searched a lot of animated GIFs online and sent them over. How about the nurse's uniform? If he doesn't like hospitals, it might backfire. How about this Chong Sam? If it were you, would you feel excited? It's too far-fetched and not down-to-earth enough. Down to earth? I thought for a while and picked a picture of a maid. Would dressing up as a maid charm you to death? Just as I was about to share it, Serena walked over. Winnie, do you know why I'm here? Her makeup today was really elaborate. There were several shiny pink diamonds pasted on her aegiosyl, the fleshy part under her eyes, which were almost blinding. I looked at her smug look and said calmly, I don't know. Her subsidiary company had completely separated from the One family and had nothing to do with the One family anymore. Logically, she shouldn't have appeared at the annual meeting of the One group. She held her head high like a rooster that had won a fight. Hunter invited me here. Hunter brother? Hee hee, what an affectionate way to call him. I became alert and got ready for a confrontation. He said that the person he really likes is not you. He only got married to your family for the sake of the Hunter family. The person he really likes is actually me. My hand trembled, and the message that I had just edited was sent out by accident. Hee hee, is that so? Before I could finish speaking, I heard someone exclaim, big news. Ha! It'll definitely be a hot search. I turned my head and saw that on the huge background screen, it clearly showed, would dressing up as a maid charm you to death? Under the spotlight, Hunter frowned tightly and his face looked very ugly. Sorry, I forgot to log out of WeChat. I accidentally clicked it just now. It's a bit embarrassing. As he was speaking, a line of words appeared on the screen. Where did this green tea bitch come from? Get lost. Then, everyone watched as he blocked me. He calmly logged out of WeChat. If it weren't for the red tips of his ears, I would even suspect that he wasn't affected at all. Hunter continued to talk eloquently on the stage about the development plan for next year, while Serena's face changed. She opened her mobile phone in surprise, clicked on WeChat, looked at the dialog box in confusion, and after confirming it several times, she looked at me. I smiled at her. What? You thought he blocked you? Serena pointed at me. You? I shook my phone. I sent it to him. What's the matter? She immediately regained hope, thinking that Hunter hated me. Little did she know that Hunter had 2 mobile phones. During these days, the mobile phone that Hunter used to contact his relatives and friends was mostly in my hands. The one who chatted with her and invited her here was me. I deliberately set my profile picture to be the same as Serena's and also deliberately chose the same nickname, WQ. Winnie. My best friend called. Quick! Look at the hot search. I clicked on the hot search, and 3 of the top 10 were occupied by Hunter. When I clicked in, there were all kinds of declarations of being lovelorn, all kinds of woo-woo, ing. I didn't know until I saw it. I was shocked to find that my husband actually had so many wives. The wives were all guessing who sent that message to Hunter. What did those 2 letters mean? Netizens all turned into Sherlock Holmes and interpreted it one after another. Finally, one comment caught everyone's attention. The company where Hunter works belongs to the One family. The original Sanha subsidiary company was taken over by Serena. I heard that this Serena might be Wen Jianhua's illegitimate daughter. Would Wen Jianhuo's wife agree to let his illegitimate daughter take over the subsidiary company? Don't be ridiculous. I heard that although the company is called the Wen families, the person in power has always been his wife Sophia. 10 years ago, after it was renamed the Wen families, it was originally planned to let Wen Jianhua be the chairman. Somehow, Wen Jianhua was suddenly sidelined, and Sophia became the chairman and president herself. Taking advantage of the heated discussion among netizens, I posted a Weibo, showing a picture of the marriage certificate. With an additional exclamation, Hunter has always been pure and self-disciplined, and there has never been any other woman around him. Even I myself have rarely been able to get close to him. You crazy women, just save your efforts. So, netizens set off another wave of gossip. Damn it. What's going on? My husband has actually got married? Did you forget the hot search 2 months ago? She's Winnie, the bride who was cheated on by Lionel at the wedding. Whoa, I didn't expect that what Hunter said was true. He really got married. I'm lovelorn, Mom. My husband keeps his word. He's a real man. Let's bless them. Netizens came to their senses from the shock. Hunter has already got married to Winnie. Then why did Serena send that kind of message to him? Connecting it with the last wedding, the answer was obvious. Bah! Lionel was also shouting Serena's name last time. Why is this woman so crazy? Why does she keep pestering Winnie's man? Obviously, Serena also realized that she had become famous. Looking at the unanimous curses from netizens in the comments, her face was extremely ugly. Winnie, you're so insidious. I smiled. Serena, I learned it all from you. It's my freedom to set my WeChat profile picture and nickname as I like. It's also my freedom for me and my husband to send these affectionate words. How can you blame me for the way things have developed? She was about to slap me, but I firmly grasped her wrist. 10 years ago, after being beaten by Wen Jianhua twice, I went to practice Sanda. I didn't expect it would come in handy now. Click, the media took pictures of the scene where Serena was about to hit me. Soon, Serena was on the hot search. She was cursed by the whole network. In the evening, I came home and sat in the study to write a short article. I clearly recorded how Serena deliberately didn't pass on my teacher's words back then, how she deliberately left those tea-sipping little notes, and how she deliberately provoked Wen Jianhua's rage and made him beat me up twice. In the article, I didn't mention that she was Wen Jianhua's illegitimate daughter. I only said that she was the daughter of our family's nanny, Lotus. As soon as I sent it out, the popularity kept rising. Netizens cursed her severely. Some of my classmates who were close to me back then replied and proved that what I said was true, which further aroused the anger of netizens. Serena, get out of City C. Daughter of the nanny, don't you have any shame? You've been so bad since you were a kid. Why didn't heaven take you away? It makes my head hurt. I really want to slap her a few times. Serena, you're so disgusting. Why don't you just die? When Hunter came back, I was browsing the replies in the study. 10 years. I had waited for 10 years to finally vent this anger. However, I still couldn't see my grandma for the last time. In a moment of melancholy, I realized that Hunter was standing at the door of the study, quietly staring at me. I didn't know when he had come back or how long he had been standing there staring at me. Dear, I've sent you a friend request, he said. By the way, change the profile picture back and the nickname too. The original ones are disgusting. I said oh. When Hunter came back after taking a shower, he stood at the door again and stared at me. I felt a bit uncomfortable under his gaze. What's the matter? Aren't you going to bed? He clenched his right hand into a loose fist and cleared his throat against his lips. That? I looked at him in surprise and saw that his ears quickly turned red. What's wrong? He usually didn't act like this when he spoke or did things. Why was he so coy now? Aren't you going to charm me to death? I didn't manage to get out of bed until noon the next day. Hunter had already prepared lunch. Winnie, I've asked for leave on your behalf. You don't have to go to work for the next few days. After our honeymoon, I'll hand over all the personnel and financial affairs to you. That very night, suddenly, another big piece of news broke out. The milk powder company with Serena as the legal representative had an accident. They could put the milk powder that was about to expire back on the shelves just by changing the production date. Young parents couldn't bear any risks to their children and gathered in front of Serena's villa, holding banners, parading, and cursing. I heard that many people threw stones, rotten vegetable leaves, and rotten eggs inside. What's more, some even threw toads and snakes inside. 2 days later, the official authorities refuted the rumor, saying that the milk powder company had operated in accordance with the standards and there was no act of changing the dates. They urged netizens not to believe or spread rumors. By that time, Serena had gone crazy. I wore a mask and a hat and stood in the crowd, watching her with her hair disheveled and her light yellow long dress stained all over. She screamed in horror while being supported by the medical staff of the mental hospital. No. No. I didn't. And just like that, Serena was locked up in the mental hospital. When Janua's heart had been in bad condition these days and he had already been sent to the intensive care unit. My mother called me, "Winnie, come here quickly. Your father might not make it." I rushed to the hospital immediately. My father had already gone into shock. "Mom, how's Dad?" I asked. "The doctor said there's little hope." My mother hung her head and stared at her fingertips for a long time. Suddenly, she raised her head and gave me a sinister smile. "Winnie, do you think?" I shouldn't have told him that Serena had gone crazy. I was shocked. "Mom, about the milk powder incident." My mother smiled, but her eyes were red. "He cheated on my feelings, beat my daughter, and almost took away my family property. How could I bear that? I didn't do anything. I just spread a little rumor." At this moment, I deeply realized that my mother, a woman who had been involved in the business world for 10 years, how could she still be the love-struck woman she used to be? Her thoughts had taken so many twists and turns. "However, Winnie, Mom is really sorry for you," she said as she hugged me and started crying woo-woo. She cried very sadly. "I was sorry for you 10 years ago, and I'm still sorry for you 10 years later. Your father took a liking to Lionel, but I had always disagreed." Just then Serena came back. I didn't understand what my mother meant at that time. It wasn't until a few days later that Lionel came to beg me in a daze, "Winnie, please persuade my brother. Ask him to leave a way out for me and my father." It turned out that Hunter had handed over the evidence of Lionel and his father embezzling public funds by cooking the books to the police. "Winnie, I originally loved you. If it weren't for Serena bewitching me, if it weren't for your mother asking me to pick you up that day, I wouldn't have made that mistake. I thought the person sleeping there was you." Ugh, I felt sick to my stomach when I heard that. By now, I finally understood what my mother meant when she said she was sorry for me. However, I still forgave her. For the sake of the husband she had chosen for me. Hunter was really nice to me. After my father passed away, he took full charge of the funeral and buried my father in a grand manner. When I went back to sort out my father's old things, I found a mobile phone from 10 years ago. After trying every way to find a technical team to charge it and turn it on, I could still see the old text messages. 10086 had sent him many messages. I clicked on them and saw that the last few messages read, "When are you getting divorced? The position of Mrs. Wynne should be mine. If you can't bear to part with the Sue family's property, you can kill Sophia. Why are you delaying it again and again? Are you reluctant to kill her? Have you really fallen in love with her? Sorry, Lotus, I can't do it. I think I love Sophia more. I've let you down. When Janhua, well done. I'll take revenge. I'll take revenge on your whole family. Every one of you will die a miserable death. Your wife, your daughter, your mother." I clenched the mobile phone, trembling all over. My grandma had always been in good health. How could she suddenly fall ill and pass away so quickly? Thinking about it carefully, it was terrifying. How did Lotus and Serena afford the high cost of living abroad? My father had never hit me before. Did he know something that day but couldn't say it out loud, so he could only take it out on me? Hunter saw that I didn't look well and quickly came over to put his arm around me. "Winnie, What's wrong with you? I closed my eyes. I was so tired. Maybe, I've discovered the truth, I said. Winnie, how come you have this handkerchief? He picked up a square handkerchief with a blue-gray plaid pattern to divert my attention. Look, there's a Jiang character embroidered on it. It's mine. I looked at him in surprise. It's yours? The reason why I agreed to get engaged to Lionel at first was that his surname was Jiang, the same as the person who had given me hope when I was most helpless back then. Unexpectedly, the right person was right in front of me now. I hugged his waist tightly, feeling a sense of relief as if I had survived a disaster, and burst into tears. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you for giving me hope 10 years ago. Thank you for being willing to save me from trouble 10 years later. He stroked my hair. Thank you for saying you loved me at the wedding. However, you cried just as ugly as you did 10 years ago. It turned out that he had always remembered me.